Salwete, welcome. This being Wednesday of the incredible Holy Week. Before we begin this new epistle of Exodus, that being 27, I'm going to reach out to the heavenlies for prayers for the families of Terah who are not connected with our Lord at all. Just following the ways of man because of ignorance or pride or stupidity. And for those serving our Lord's church, again, pride has so many of these men and women way off tangent for what our Lord had set aside and established. Jesus, I'm talking about, for his church by way of his apostles. And that needs to return to where Paul and Peter began. It needs no adjustment. It doesn't. These popes and these bishops and these cardinals that keep making these alterations thinking, well, because God would approve this. Well, no. He knows everything. He knows our future. He knew what we were going to do, but he made it simple. But mankind just keeps garbaging it up over and over, which is why I keep pleading with these nations and these people of these nations instead of the leaders. Stop following these whims of man. They're leading you to nothing but greed and pain and suffering. Deliver me, O God, my God, from the guilt of blood, and my tongue shall extol thy justice. Contumelias et tetores passus sum habeus, et dominis mecum est tamquam delatur fortis. But in vain have they sought my soul. They shall go into the lower parts of the earth. Omnis inimici me audierunt malum meum, Domine laetate sunt, quoniam tu fecisti. Bind the nations of the Gentiles in chains, O Lord, and their kings with fetters. My opening statement, it goes along with those last lines I just said. All right, Exodus 27. Continuing on with this incredible new church. Well, let's go over its history one more time. Began with Adam and Eve representing Terah, but we really went off on a tangent at that, and not only did we use the earth to our whims and ambitions and our pleasures, but we supplanted God with stuff that we were creating and finding on earth. So it became flooded, and the next church was in an ark, floating on water, this entire globe, because there was not a speck of land anywhere. Following that, we found his church on a mountain, in a bush. And then now, here we are with this ark. So Moses, his further instructions, thou shalt make also an altar of the wood. Guess what? Setim, once again. And it's going to be 4 square. 5 cubits in length, 5 cubits in breadth, and 3 cubits, 3 forearms in height. The altar. 4 square means the angles are all even, means the sides are all equal, making it a square. This will be the top of the table. So 5 length, 5 width, and for the height, whoops, that's 5 is here. The height is 3 cubits. Continues on. There shall be at the 4 corners horns. All 4 horns will be the same, and they'll be coated with brass. On top, 4 horns. So the materials we have at the moment are wood and brass. There's going to be a lot of materials being used in this Ark of Covenant with this altar, and he wants these things to be made of brass. For example, the pans where the ashes are collected, because in our Father's church nothing is wasted, which indeed must be true today. The tongues, flesh hooks, fire pans, any vessels to do with this altar will be made out of brass. Next is a grate. You see a lot of these metal grates nowadays. You see them being used on for foundation for pouring cement or concrete, for walking on grated steels up on gangways. Those are grates that you see. So he wants a particular net, a net grate made out of, once again, brass. And where it's going to go underneath the hearth, the fireplace of the altar. And the grates will be in the center of the altar. All right, so we have this altar. I'm going to flip it. Now we have in the center. Underneath the altar will be this hearth, this fireplace, so to speak. And on top of it is this brass grate that you see here. It's going to be centered underneath the altar. Now, the four corners will be 4 rings of brass. And these rings of brass are what holds it up underneath the hearth. Four rings of brass to hold up the grate. It's just incredible. God, on this plan, leaves no leeway for man at this moment in time to use his interpretations. He's very specific what he wants, which is why these measurements occur. And he's given man precisely what materials to use. Because our Lord already knows through history already, ancient history, man likes to take things into his own hands thinking it's better. This same habit you will learn in Leviticus will continue even after the ark. And it's what priests and popes do nowadays in contemporary times, making these alterations that are not what Jesus or our Lord had planned. Thou shalt make also 2 bars for the altar. They'll be made once again out of the wood setim, and they will be plated with brass. Another thing, and these wooden poles will be hollow. He doesn't want them heavy, or massy is the way he puts it. And when man has to carry anything of our Lord, it'll be with these poles. And you'll always have these brass rings for which these poles will go through, making it easy for 2 or 4 men to carry it on the other side of the camera. See, 4 rings, and then the poles, which are hollow. Keeping man's flesh off his altar at all times. Moses also told to make a court of the tabernacle in the south part of this big this mobile church he's creating, where there shall be hangings, once again, of twisted silk. And I explained to you yesterday what hangings were. And one side, believe it or not, will be 104 arms in length, 100 cubits, 20 pillars with 20 feet of brass. And they'll have heads with engravings, probably of angels, whatever else, Maria or any of the prophets are told during this time, or the servants. Maria, again, is the prophetess, the sister of Aaron. One side shall hold in length, like I said, 100 cubits, 20 pillars, many feet of brass, with, again, coated with brass. The like manner on the north side, there will also be in length hangings, again, 100 cubits. Incredible length of these decorations, so to speak, these man-made hangings. And 20 pillars, once again, feet of brass, just as 20 feet of brass, and again with engravings of silver. So now we have three materials introduced. We have setim, we have brass, and we have silver. The breadth of the court that looks towards the opposite, towards the 90 degrees off, no, the west side, there'll be also hangings, but not of 100. These will be half the length at 50 cubits. And half the pillars, 10 pillars. This is on the west side. And that breadth also of this court, which looks to the east, it's going to be the same thing, 50 cubits. And on one side, these hangings, incredibly, decrease to 15 cubits. And the pillars, even so, are also shorter. Not 20 feet, but 3 feet. 3 pillars, 3 feet. Entering the court, when you're going inside the court from the entrance, the hangings will be of 20 forms, 20 cubits, and the hangings, the colors, once again, entering into our Father's church, which you should see today. You really should see these colors entering to the church, but we don't. What we see mainly is wood and then the altar to the top. But I'm not the Pope, and sorry about that, but some of these things should not have changed, I don't think. Twisted silk, once again, with the colors of majestic, the purple and the hyacinth and scarlet, twice dyed, which signifies for the blood that our Lord will shed. And these will contain embroidery work, once again. And they'll have 4 pillars, with each pillar being 4 feet. So we have this we have this incredible box, and he has a design so that, you know, it's in the back, it's big, on the sides, it gets shorter with the hangings, and then in the front, to enter, it's special, everything's different. It's like the north side doesn't match the south side. The east side doesn't match the west side, even though some of the measurements are pretty close to each other. All the pillars of the court will be garnished with plates of incredible silver, with these silver heads and feet of brass. In other words, any nails or screws that they're using are going to be silver, folks. All right, we're going to close it now. Next we meet, we're going to continue on with the court, talking about its length and some other vessels inside this tabernacle. So until then, Pax Vobis, and please don't keep this knowledge to yourself. It's time to spread it out. It's time to share God's wealth. It's time to bring man to our Lord's ways instead of man's ways. Yeah, man likes to use God a lot. You hear it with all these politicians. But the way I see it, it's so hypocritical. You can't say you're using God, then send jets to kill somebody. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just like American Civil War, anyone's Civil War. God's on our side. Is he? You're killing each other. All right, I'll stop going off on the tangents. Till next we meet, Pax Vobis.